Welcome inside our Waverly Avenue studios for this special edition of Beat the Bookie. And the only reason it's special is because myself is on the show, Gino Antimarino. Thanks so much for tuning in. Now, before we get to my awesome picks that are about to generate so much money you're not going to know what to do with it, let's take a look at Skylar Wilkes' recap from the last time he was on. Yikes. Okay, I didn't realize. Okay, I might have some tough competition to go up against. So Skylar might be a ball knower, but fear not, because I have the power of Google on my side. I think I could, compete a little bit. We'll see. Okay, anyways, look at that parlay. He's got tons of good stats in there. Biggest loss, Saquon Barkley. That was actually pretty surprising. I thought Barkley would have easily gotten that over 24.5 rushes, especially in a big-time game like that. But we'll see how he performs in the Super Bowl come a couple weekends. All right, that was Skylar Wilkes' recap. Now you're going to see my picks. Let's beat that bookie, baby.
Hey, Jerry, you better yell! Show me the money! Show me the money!
Starting off with number 5, Florida versus number 8, Tennessee. Give me the Vols covering the 4.5-point spread over the Gators. That's not what a Gator makes. Anyways, listen, Tennessee is 11-1 at home. Florida has had just 3 away games in the month of January. So, they're not really used to that road mentality, mindset, whatever you want to call it. Plus, playing at Thompson Bowling Arena is no easy place to play. The Vols have the second highest attendance per game in the SEC, with almost 20,000 fans going crazy in Rocky Top. That's 20,000 more people than I have supporting me. So, Anyways, a tough loss to number 12 Kentucky last time out at home will for sure leave Tennessee hungry for a redemption victory. Give me the Vols to cover the 4.5-point spread. Ka-ching! Now, heading over to the battle in Durham. It's the Battle of North Carolina between UNC and number 2 Duke. I'll take the Tar Heels to cover the 13.5-point spread. Now, I get it. North Carolina has been struggling, and Duke has been anything but. But in the last 10 matchups, the point differential has been greater than 13 just twice. The last time that happened was back on February 5th, 2022. Listen, this is a North Carolina team that lost by just 3 in overtime to a really good Michigan State team who you'll hear from later on in some of my picks earlier this season. So we know they can compete. Plus, everyone knows both teams rise to the level of expectations for the Battle of Tobacco Road. So give me North Carolina to make it a close one and cover the 13.5-point spread. With the next game of the week, it's a highly anticipated matchup between Arkansas and number 12 Kentucky, with Coach John Calipari making his return back to Rupp Arena. Give me Arkansas to cover the 11.5-point spread because there's emotion behind this game. I remember in my rec league in high school, one of my ex-teammates torched my team for 2 threes. Yeah, 2 of them in his return game. He actually had to be drug tested after the game for that performance. My rec league has never seen a performance quite like that. But anyways, Arkansas did recently score its first SEC victory, a 68-65 home win over a Georgia Bulldogs team that took down Kentucky in Athens earlier in the season. So I think Arkansas covers the 11.5-point spread. Ka-ching! All right, now let's take a look at what the producers have to pick for this weekend. And listen, they already got a great pick with that photo of me, so I can only imagine that their picks for this weekend are going to be just as good. Looking at the C-suite, okay, so they got all 3 teams covering the spread. They got Tennessee, Duke, and Kentucky. That Kentucky-Arkansas game is going to be kind of a toss-up in my opinion because it means more, right, with Calipari coming back. But I could totally see a world where Kentucky scores more than 12 or more points to finish the game, win the game, whatever you want to call it. So I definitely think they have potential, but you don't want to listen to them despite what their record says of 2-0. You want to just go with what I said. So yeah, don't listen to them. But anyways, let's go back to some of my own picks for my best bets. To start with, give me Creighton money line over Villanova. In Big East play, the Blue Jays have won their last 5 games, including a victory over number 14 UConn. Furthermore, the defense for Creighton has been superb. The Jays have not allowed more than 64 points in 3 of their last 5 games. And you know the saying, offense wins games while defense wins even, bigger games. Give me Creighton money line over Villanova. Cha-ching! You know that little sound effect that they add? Love it. Winning on the road is also something I love. In college basketball, it's pretty hard. It feels like every night there's a court storming after a highly ranked road team goes down at the hands of a gritty squad in front of its home crowd. This won't be that shocking and jaw-dropping, but I've got the home Mississippi State Bulldogs to cover the 6.5-point spread against Missouri. The Bulldogs just suffered a tough loss earlier this week to Alabama in a game they probably should have won. A bounce-back spot for Chris Jans and company. Ring those cowbells, baby. Cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Or that money sign, whatever you want to call it. For my next best bet, I've got number 1 Auburn covering the 6.5-point spread over number 23 Ole Miss. And let me just say, this wasn't very easy. The Pavilion will be sold out for the game down in Oxford, and I know Ole Miss will put up a fight. But in SEC play, the differential in points for Ole Miss is 7. Some close and some not so close games for Ole Miss, and when you come at the king, aka top-ranked Auburn, you best not miss. So give me the Tigers to cover the 6.5-point spread down in a packed Pavilion crowd. All right, now let's take a peek ahead down the road. Michigan State basketball is on an unreal run right now. Shout out my good friend Griffin Marcy. This might not be Tom Izzo's most talented team, but they are complete and they are playing great basketball. The Spartans have won 13 in a row and haven't lost on the mainland since November 12th. They're already up 2 games in conference, and my future is MSU finishes off the regular season atop the Big Ten. Purdue has dropped 2 games in conference play. Michigan's starting to struggle. Tom Izzo takes home his 11th Big Ten regular season title at minus 105 odds. Now let's take a look at Skylar's futures from a week ago. Janai Broome to win the Wooden Award. Hey, I kind of like that. I picked Auburn to cover the 6.5-point spread, and a large reason for that is Broome. He's a stud, like we talked about with Hunter and with me, or I will be talking about with Hunter. I could see it happening. Now let's get spicy and talk some parlays. Hey, thanks, Gino. Keep looking like a stud over there. All right, points, points, points. That's what this week's parlay is going to entail. Starting down in Raleigh, I've got the over in NC State and Clemson. Shablam! Tigers guard Chase Hunter, he's a stud, like me. He leads the way for Clemson, and he's got plenty of pieces around him to put up some points. The team that he's going to have to defend is spearheaded by Jaden Taylor. This might not be the same Final Four team that had DJ Burns banging and slanging down low, but they've got a little bit of everything. Ben Middlebrooks to anchor the paint, Michael O'Connell to knock down a 3, and Taylor to do it all. This game is for sure going over 132.5. We're talking overs. Let's stay on that theme, even though friends never wanted me to come over. But, anyways. Heading to the Coastal Athletic Association, give me Drexel and Towson to go over 125.5. Shablam! This is an interesting battle because Towson has a superb defense, ranking first in the CAA. Meanwhile, Drexel averages the 5th most points per game in the conference. 125.5 is so few, with the game being in Maryland and not in Philly. That home crowd will certainly make up the gap between the two teams' offenses. Plus, the Tigers are first in the conference. Give me the over for the Drexel and Towson game. Now, I already said Michigan State is going to win the conference. They're 9-0 in Big Ten play right now. They go to 10-0 after tonight's game against USC, and not just by the skin of their teeth. They cruise past the Trojans that travel to the West Coast. That won't bother the boys in green and white. Spartans cover the 5.5-point spread. Bam! You see that there? Now that I've given you these money-making locks, I'm going to give you another chance to get all caught up. Open up your apps, get ready, and place these bets, because I'm not in the business of making friends. I'm in the business of making some moolah. Hey, thanks, Gino. You're looking like a stud over there as well, but maybe buy a suit jacket that fits you next time. You're looking like a Lego brick out there. Anyways, so here are my picks from this show. I'm pretty confident in it. $10 for number 5 Florida at Tennessee to cover. I got Duke, North Carolina to cover that game. Kentucky versus Arkansas, I got Arkansas covering. And I've got Creighton money line for one of my best bets. Got $10 on each of those 4 games. Then I got $20 on Auburn minus 6.5 versus Ole Miss. $10 on Mississippi State minus 6.5 versus Missouri. And $10 for Michigan State, my future bet to win the Big Ten at minus 105 odds. And then my big parlay, $10 for Clemson against North Carolina State for the over in that game, 132.5. Also Drexel versus Towson, also the over, 122.5. I mean, that's so few. I think I have maybe $1 more in my bank account than that 122.5. I think I have $123. And I've got Michigan State at minus 5.5 against USC. All right, so those were my picks from this show. Take them, don't take them, I don't care. Again, I'm not in the business of making money, so if you want me to just, spend all the money and you make nothing, that's perfectly fine too. But shout out to all the producers, Griffin Bloomstein, Adam Hipsky, Dan Papillo being awesome over there. Same with Rihanna Abil. Thanks to everybody down here in the Citrus TV studios, and we'll see you next time on Beat the Bookie.